Okay, we're here doing a video about the valve cover and how to replace it and the intake manifold. I already got some of the connectors off. This one goes to this little port right here. There's a little clip. Looks like this. Pull it out with a flathead or whatever you have. And then there's this one right here that you hold these in. Make sure not to break it or you're gonna be spending a lot of money, because that's your vacuum. And be like me and broke this off already, hence why I'm replacing the intake manifold. And then you gotta undo some of these wires, lift them up from their spots, and you gotta disconnect this fuel rail right here. There's two little hex bolts. You're gonna need a hex bit for that, and then this should just pop right out. You might need to pry it a little bit. Don't pry too hard or you don't want to break stuff. And then there's I believe, what is that, 1 2 3 4 5 6 bolts for the intake. And if you're doing your throttle body too, there is two, I believe, what is that, so there's, I believe, also hex bolts right there. Unplug this connector, unplug your charge pipe, and that's pretty much it for the intake. But for the valve cover, you got all these bolts right here. Then you got to take this center one off the coil pack. You can leave your spark plugs, and you just undo this wiring harness right here, lift that up, and that's it for that valve cover. But I have to run to the store. I don't have any of the hex bits for that, so I'll get back to it when I get those parts. Okay, we're back. I'm just gonna take off some stuff while we're at it. This fuel rail, like I was talking about, comes right out, but make sure to take off this 10mm. It's a ground for the fuel rail. Take that off, but I'm not gonna take all the plugs out. So there's 4 plugs. They have a little clip in there you take out with a flathead. Isn't that bad, but. And then we got some, I don't know what these are called, but they're like sensors. Unplug them. Make sure to know, keep track which one goes to which. You just lift up on the tab, and then it should come right out. Might be a little stubborn, but yeah, they come right out. I'll take those off later when I go get that hex bit. But other than that, you don't need to take this off unless you want to get sprayed with fuel in the face. Just take that off, remove it, put it to the side. Like I said, take that off, this off, and then there's 6 bolts you take off for the intake. They're all down there. They might be a pain in the butt cheek to get to, but yeah. And then I'll get back when I get those bits. So again, there's 2 connectors right here. Unplug them, just lift up on your fill rail, undo that 10mm ground. Do not lose that bolt. You can unplug the connectors for the fuel injectors if you want. Like I said, just lift this harness up. Do not break it. Like I said, they're terrible for plastic. This car sucks to work on. And there's down here, you just remove that from the place it's holding, lift that up, and after that you're pretty much done with removing everything on the intake. After that, you just got to get those bolts, which I'll get to soon, and we'll go from there. Okay, I did do those bolts off camera, but there's 6 bolts. You will need to use an extension, and it's not a regular 10mm, it's a Torx socket. It's a size E12 you'll be using. So if you don't have a set of those, I would suggest, if you're working on one of these cars, it'd be very useful to get one of those, because that's mostly what this engine bay is. It's a bunch of E-Torx sockets. Well, there we go. We got it out. Heads up, there will be a connector right under it and a little like vacuum line that will be right there, so do not just pull it out or you will mess those up, and that's not cheap. And if you're swapping the throttle body, put on your new intake, it's just 4 hex bits and those will come right out. Yeah, and I'll do the valve cover next after I get those bits. But yeah, make sure to scrape all the excess residue off, or you will have an intake or a vacuum leak. That's not fun. Alright, so we're putting it back in now. You will need hex bits. This right here is a hex bit. They're like a couple bucks at like Harbor Freight. And you'll need Torx bits for these little sensors right here, and like that's like half the car. You'll need those, so make sure to grab you some of those. You will also need them for the coil pack screws to do the valve cover. You will take those off, and then 15 bolts. Take that off and it should come on. You might need to pry on it a little bit, but this manifold, just do the same thing like you took it out. Just put it back in, put the bolts in, tighten them all down. I like to do wrist tight, but because the torque specs for these are really low, so I just do wrist tight and then call it good. And then for the valve cover, it's not that hard. You just loosen all those bolts. But after you loosen those bolts, you might need to pry a little bit. Do not pry too much. You don't want to leave scratches on the mating surfaces, then you have a problem. But after you do that, you just take all those bolts off. Then you clean the surface. I'm just using a rag, it's coming off fine, but if you have stubborn bits, just get a razor and gently pry on there, or gently scrape. And then after you got it all cleaned, I'll show you how to do the rest. Okay, so right now I had to order some RTV, so I'm waiting on that, because you're gonna want to RTV these corners, this corner, possibly this corner, definitely this corner where the old RTV was. Right here, that's usually where they tend to leak. And then me personally, I would RTV these corners right here and any like 90-degree corner, because those always tend to leak. But when I get the RTV, we'll put the new valve cover on, and then yeah, that's it. We're all done. And then don't forget to put this on if you did move your throttle body to the new one. Don't forget to put that back on. Don't forget to put that. Oh, for the bolts, when you're tying them down, go wrist tight. So grab the head of your ratchet and just go down till you can't anymore. Any tighter than that, then you have risk of snapping your bolts, and that's terrible day. Terrible day. But yeah, well, we'll get back to you when I get the RTV. Right, so you'll put the RTV right there and right there. No other places need it, just those. Okay, then we go ahead, tighten down all those bolts, hand tight, so like this, grab the head, turn it till it's done, till you can't go anymore. Alright, that's all plugged in. Next thing you want to do is tighten that, put those back in and tighten them down. Obviously put your oil cap back on. Mine went somewhere. I'll have to find it, but yeah, once you get that on, you should be good to go. Right, well after that, we just go ahead and start it, and should be fine. Alright, she seems to be going fine. Yep. Well, I guess that's it for the video. Next time, if we ever get anything, something else on this car, and again, it's a 2011 Chevy Cruze to 2016, 1.4 liter engine, turbo. I don't know about the 1.8, so I'm pretty sure that pretty much the same thing.